Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bruce Talks Podcast and Bruce Talks Podcast en Español. We're so excited because we're launching a brand new episode for you today with some insight and information that if you take it to heart, you put into practice, it's going to change and transform your life. And even better yet, if you know of someone that you love and care for, business partner, employee, salesperson, someone that needs the encouragement or some tools to transform and evolve in their life to go to the next level, please share this information with them. You don't know what you can do for this person and change their life. But I'm excited to launch this special topic today, which is look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. And this is about the Marina Chapman story, which I'm going to share with you. How is it relevant with the topic, look in the mirror? It's awesome. It changed my life. Again, the information that I share with you, it's information that encourages me, inspires me, but also I believe has a certain message that can touch your life and take you in a whole different direction, or someone else that you share and help them lead in a whole brand new path. If you haven't done it yet, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a new viewer or a repeat viewer and you haven't subscribed yet to our channel, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button, press the like button, and also please share the comments of any of the topics we shared with you, past or present, and or the new topics that you'll be running into. Please comment and let us know how it's impacted your life, what you've put into practice, or what you take away for yourself, or what someone else told you because you shared that message with them. So today, let's get into the subject matter, which is look in the mirror. So I'm going to invite all of you today to look in the mirror. And I want you to invite you to take a look in the mirror in the symbolic way, but also in the literal way as well. But let's get into the story of Marina Chapman. This story begins in Colombia, in the country of Colombia, Latin America, South America. It's about this young lady when she was a little girl playing in her backyard. She was only 5 years of age, 5 years old. Can you imagine your son or daughter or someone you love, your son, your niece, your little brother or little sister, 5 years of age, and somebody comes from behind, puts a cloth around her face and mouth, takes her away. They say that they took her away and they took her to the deep jungle of Colombia, in other words, in the Amazon, and they left her for dead. This five-year-old young lady, little girl, leaving her in the deep jungle, leaving her for dead. Forget about the 5-year-old young girl or boy, and how about us as an adult? Doesn't matter if you're middle-aged, young, older, but they take us to the deep jungle in the Amazon, where you know that you can lose your life with an insect, these deadly insects, or even animals. Can you imagine that? But imagine a 5-year-old little girl taken and left for dead and abandoned in the jungle of Colombia. And the story begins that she says she was obviously frightened and scared and in horror, listening to all these sounds. She says she was walking for hours at end, trying to find some sign of life or another human being. Nightfall came. Scared and horrified of her situation, she fell asleep next to a tree, under a bush. Woke up the second day, horrified, and she woke up, guess what? Surrounded by a family or of many monkeys, and particularly of the species of the capuchin monkey. Look them up. Very interesting monkey, but they might look cute on looking them up on the internet and how pretty, but being surrounded, she says she was surrounded by lots of capuchin monkeys, and they were poking at her. Imagine you wake up all scared, listening to, imagine a lot of monkeys screaming, yelling, making the noise that they typically make, and they're poking at you like, what are you? What is this species of being here? And a little girl particularly, she says she yelled, and they kind of stopped and backed off, but she had nothing else to do. She was hungry. She was thirsty. She said on the second day, what she did, she started to follow these capuchin monkeys, and she started to see how they were picking berries and nuts, and they were eating this. And she started to pick berries and eat the nuts. And then they would drink water that were in big leaves. So she was drinking water from the big leaves like the capuchin monkey as well. Well, guess what? Time went by. She started to imitate the capuchin monkeys. Remember the power of association. It says that the phrase says, monkey see, monkey do. And guess what? She started to lose the habit of a human being. She started to live the monkey way, the capuchin monkey's way. She says that since she didn't have no human interaction, she lost the ability to communicate in her language, her human language. She was speaking and communicating like the monkeys. So was her behavior and demeanor, because she was surrounded by the monkeys, that eventually they took her in as part of their family, and she became like a capuchin monkey. And this was her life. It says that the days turned into weeks, the weeks turned into months, and the months turned into years. And she lost her language. She was acting like a monkey. How many of us have been surrounded by people? Either the good rubs off on us or the bad, and we end up acting, speaking, and behaving like these kinds of people. And this is an interesting analogy where we can kind of reflect right now. How many of us have lost our ways because of the power association? And so it says that, she lived like this in the jungle. And, basically what happened is that she being on top of a tree like the other monkeys, she saw a reflection of something that was shiny on the floor, the bottom floor of the jungle. And in her curiosity, she, went down and she picked up this object and she started to analyze it. She turned it around and she saw in that object a face, a nose, eyes, and she got horrified. She goes, "What an animal!" And she let go of that object. And she's like, "Wow, an animal. Oh my God." She went back up in the tree and she kept seeing that shiny object from above in the tree. And she said, "You know what? Let me go back down and take a look at this object. What is this? It's curious. It has the face of an animal." She said that she said it was alive. So she picked up this object again, turned it around, and she saw the nose, she saw a mouth, and guess what? She realized and understood that that was her. It was not an animal. She understood and got a revelation at that moment that she was not a monkey. She was not a capuchin monkey. She was a human being, and she remembered who she was. How many of us have been confronted in life either by a literal mirror, and you see your reflection and say, "Hey, that is not me. I lost my way. This is who I am." And you recover who you are, or you wake up or snap out of that dream life, or that moment, that period of life where you're asleep and you become conscious and aware. Well, that's the kind of revelation that Marina Chapman had at that moment. And it says that she understood at that moment, one, what she was. In other words, she was a human being. So how about it when you reflect on that in that mirror or symbolic mirror, you say, "Hey, this is who I am." And then two, she understood what she was not. In that case, she was not a monkey, a capuchin monkey. She said, "Hey, I'm a human being." So she recovered her identity. And number three, she knew what was going to become of her. In other words, she knew that she had to find some other humans like herself. So it said that 5 years went by from a 5-year-old to turning into a 10-year-old when she was discovered by hunters. These hunters took her in, abused her, and had under like slavery. A family rescued her from these men and took her to Bogota, Colombia, where they took her in with other children who were in a vulnerable state, and they shipped them out or sent them to England for a better life. There it says that Marina Chapman worked as a nanny for a wealthy family and became cultured. She grew, she identified who she was. She ended up marrying a man, a prestigious man. And then also she formed her family. She had children. And then now she's over 70 years of age and she's a grandmother. And she says that one of her favorite pastimes, one is to climb up trees, remembering her capuchin monkey days, but also she loves grooming and taking care of her grandchildren. And obviously she wrote a book. There's been stories that have been made of her, movies, short movies, and films and interviews where she talks about her story, her 10-year, 5-year journey as a capuchin monkey in behavior where she lost her identity. So what's the moral of the story? Number one, if you have lost your identity because you've been in the jungle of life, and I want to use this term the jungle of life. She was in the jungle. But how many of us get lost in the jungle of life, where we get lost? We have a purpose, we have a route that we're going to take, but we get lost on the way because we associate with other people. We start acting, being, and doing like those people, and you lose your identity as well, and you lose your purpose. That happened to Marina Chapman, and it's happened to me, and I'm sure possibly it's happened to you. Maybe it's happening to you right now. Maybe it's happened to you in the past. And if it hasn't happened, you want to have this awareness so it doesn't happen. Maybe you have some friends or somebody that has lost their way, has lost their identity. Well, the first lesson that Marina Chapman understood from that experience when she saw and looked into the mirror and she understood who she was number one, she said that she understood who she was. So number one, whether you have to look at yourself in the literal mirror, and I encourage you to do this, who are you? Who have you become if you have strayed from your path and lost your identity? So we need to find out where we are today. So number one, who are you? And number two lesson, she said she learned who she was not. She understood at that moment, hey, I'm not a monkey. I'm not a capuchin monkey. I'm Marina Chapman. I'm a human being. And I'm capable of this or that. And number three, the thing that she discovered is who she could become. So if you've been lost in the jungle of life, where you have encountered disappointment, abuse, loss, failure, ill health, hardship, depression, low self-esteem, worthlessness, loss of a business, loss of your finances, and or ended up in a breakup, confusion, or the effects of hurt, ignorance, anger, or resentment, what is the solution? Number one, remember Marina Chapman. You and I have access to a mirror in our restroom, any kind of mirror, and you get to see a reflection of yourself, or you have the mirror of your mind and your mindset where you get to look at yourself and think, hey, who am I? So what's the solution? Number one, look in the mirror, symbolic or literal. But remember, number one, who you are, like Marina Chapman. Number two, what you're not, or what you no longer want to be part of. And number three, what you become, what you can become, which is your dreams, goals, ambition, or the vision that you had once for you, yourself, your family, and your loved ones. So ladies and gentlemen, we're so excited to share this story with you, Marina Chapman's story. And I want to invite you this moment to look in the mirror of your life and identify who you are, what you're not, and where you're going. If you haven't done it yet, my friend, please subscribe, like, comment, and share with a loved one. This is Bruce Villarreal, speaker, businessman, and transformer of life. I know that if you take this message to heart, analyze where you're at, or share it with someone else, together you and I and those people you love will get to the next level. I want to wish you the very best, wishing you love and respect always. And I'll see you in our next episode with Bruce Talks Podcast and Bruce Talks Podcast en Español.